It's Monday, October 27th. In the headlines, Hurricane Melissa expected to impact Jamaica on Tuesday. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness declares Jamaica a threatened area due to the impending hurricane. Regionally, government coordinates support for Trinidad and Tobago students in Jamaica. And in sports, Hurricane Melissa forces Caribbean Cup playoff schedule changes. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. An order has been issued for the immediate evacuation of several vulnerable communities across Jamaica as Hurricane Melissa bears down on the island with life-threatening rain and winds. The order was issued by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness on Sunday under the Disaster Risk Management Act.
It is expected that Hurricane Melissa will make landfall on Tuesday. I take this opportunity to reinforce the appeal to residents of low-lying areas, historically flood-prone areas, gully banks, riverbanks, hillsides, and other vulnerable areas to take precautions to protect your property where possible, prepare your evacuation plan, and comply with the evacuation orders given. Avoid unnecessary risks such as playing in floodwaters and waterways, climbing trees and roofs during the hurricane, shelter in place, stay inside during the hurricane. We have issued an order under the Disaster Risk Management Act declaring the entire island of Jamaica a threatened area. This provides us with the legal framework to take all necessary measures to safeguard lives and property during the hurricane. All our national agencies, ODPEM, the JDF, the JCF, the NWA, and our first responders are on high alert. Shelters have been prepared, supplies pre-positioned, and emergency teams are standing by across the island. At the time of impact, the government will declare a disaster under the DRMA, along with the various other measures necessary from time to time to take us safely through the periods of disaster, relief, and recovery.
The Prime Minister says the compulsory evacuation order gives the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, the authority to have persons evacuated from high-risk areas to save lives.
We have also issued an order under the Trade Act to prevent price gouging. No one should seek to profit from the hardship of a disaster. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining will be issuing a recommended price list for all market produce. We have intensified our drain cleaning and mitigation programs across the island, targeting critical areas that are most vulnerable to flooding. Over 400 million Jamaican dollars has so far been allocated for drain cleaning and waterway cleanup, including at least $3 million to each constituency to carry out emergency drain cleaning and local preparedness.
Hurricane Melissa is moving toward the west near 3 miles per hour. A slow turn toward the northwest and north is expected today and tonight, followed by a northeastward acceleration beginning on Tuesday. On the forecast track, the core of Melissa is expected to move near or over Jamaica tonight and Tuesday. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 160 miles per hour with higher gusts. Additional strengthening is forecast today, with some fluctuations in intensity likely before Melissa makes landfall on southwestern Jamaica as a powerful major hurricane early Tuesday. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 30 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward 195 miles. Tropical storm conditions are expected to spread over Jamaica today, and hurricane conditions are expected to begin tonight or early Tuesday. Life-threatening storm surge, accompanied by large and destructive waves, is likely along the south coast of Jamaica tonight and on Tuesday, peaking at 9 to 13 feet above ground level, near and to the east of where the center of Hurricane Melissa makes landfall. Small craft operators, including fishers on the quays and banks, are strongly advised to remain in safe harbor until all warning messages have been lifted and wind and sea conditions have returned to normal. Both of Jamaica's international airports have suspended operations as Hurricane Melissa draws closer to the island. Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston ceased operations following the final incoming flight on Saturday, October 25, while Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James, closed at midday on Sunday, October 26. Minister of Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, Daryl Vaz, who provided the update, informed that 11 outbound flights from Montego Bay were facilitated prior to the closure of Sangster Airport.
Both international airports are now closed. We accommodated 11 flights out of Montego Bay this morning, and we closed at midday.
Flow, along with other utility providers like Jamaica Public Service, DIGI, and the National Water Commission, have collaborated on hurricane preparedness through joint drills and infrastructure hardening. In response to Hurricane Melissa, these companies activated their emergency operations centers, emphasizing their preparedness through coordinated efforts, readiness for restoration, and ongoing infrastructure improvements to minimize potential damage and service disruptions. Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Public Service Company, Hugh Grant, speaking during a joint media briefing of the major utility providers, said the company was bracing for the worst.
Here at JPS, it's likely to be a rebuild and not just a restoration. As we stand now, we're also looking at further preparations to potentially bring in additional resources and barge or fly equipment in, such as bucket trucks, crane trucks, and other equipment that may be required if there is extensive damage on our grid to facilitate safe and timely response.
Vice President and General Manager for telecoms provider Flow, Stephen Price, also addressed the news briefing.
I think we are well placed in terms of what we have to do from a recovery perspective. In some incidents, as Sir Grant has said, it will be a rebuild based on the intensity of the winds. And the fact is, by nature, I mean, our networks are vulnerable to both weather and all the technical interruptions. And even right now, we do have one current interruption that we have in voice that we're working through.
CEO of telecoms provider DIGI, Stephen Murad, called on Jamaicans to partner with both companies to ensure that critical infrastructure is not damaged or stolen.
So can't stress enough that if you take away critical infrastructure, so whether you want to go and steal the diesel or get frustrated because of the security measure that we put in and decide to damage everything, it will take us much longer to provide critical services for our customers.
In a statement issued on Sunday, the Ministry of Education confirmed that all schools will remain closed until further notice, citing the approaching Category 5 Hurricane Melissa and the forecast for severe weather conditions. Acting Chief Education Officer Terry-Ann Thomas Gale says the safety and well-being of students and staff remain the government's top priority. The ministry also advised that new deadlines for external exam fees will be announced once conditions improve. Student administrators at institutions designated as emergency shelters are being asked to work closely with shelter managers to ensure a coordinated national response. Among key directives, safeguarding documents and materials, granting access to security and relief personnel, ensuring water, sanitation, and kitchen facilities are available for shelter use. The ministry is urging all Jamaicans, especially those in vulnerable areas, to stay calm, follow evacuation orders if issued, and remain tuned to official updates from ODPEM and the Meteorological Service. Acting Inspector of Poor at the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, Donna Gay Brady, says her team is ready to accommodate the homeless throughout the hurricane with adequate supply of food and hygiene kits. But a number of street people are resisting efforts to move them into shelters before Melissa strikes.
Well, fortunately, Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation's Poor Relief Department, we are prepared. We have put all measures in place to facilitate the persons experiencing homelessness, persons on the street. All our shelters have been activated. The Desmond Mackenzie Transitional Center, Marie Atkins Night Shelter, and our temporary shelter at Church Street to admit additional persons experiencing homelessness in the hurricane.
Just about 76 emergency shelters across Portland were on standby as a parish prepared for the possible impact of Hurricane Melissa, which continues to move slowly toward the island. These shelters are available to house those vulnerable to adverse effects due to the hurricane. Parish Coordinator for Disaster Preparedness, Denise Lewis, says provisions have been made to ensure readiness. She adds that between 350 to 400 shelter managers are currently on alert and ready to activate facilities once the need arises. Kingston's Parish Coordinator for Disaster Preparedness, Terry Forrester, says her team has already deployed resources to the various shelters. She says they will be paying attention to shelters serving hotspot areas.
So far we have been, as you see behind me, we're distributing supplies to our shelters. We have been in constant dialogue with our agencies and our shelter managers. We also have been liaising with the ODPEM, and we've been continuing to do our preparedness activities as needed. We also collaborate with the different agencies and the different departments of the KCMC, which includes the City Engineers Department and the Poor Relief Department.
All right, so how many shelters are in operation right now? Are prepared to be in operation right now?
All right, so we're preparing some hotspots areas that we know usually are active, and as such we are sending shelters out. We're looking at about anywhere between 30 to 40 shelters right now, and as the need arises we can have more. As you know, we have 107 shelters on the shelter list, and as such we can expand to those 107 shelters.
Right, give me a few that you are really paying attention to. Name a few.
All right, so a few shelters that we're really looking at now includes the Edith Dalton James High School, which services the New Haven community. We're also looking at Friendship Brooks Primary, the Harborview Primary, St. Benedict's Primary, which are some of the hotspot areas. We're also looking in the hills, where we're looking at Lawrence Tavern Primary, Oberlin Primary, Brandon Hill Primary. Also to the other east, we're looking at Mavis Bank, the St. Martin's de Paris, along with Louise Bennett Coverley. So we're looking at a wide range of schools and shelters that can be utilized in the need.
What should we bring to the shelter? I've always wanted to know specifically, if I'm packing up to go to the shelter, what should I bring?
All right, so what you should bring to the shelter is you should bring your medication. So if it is that you have medication, please to bring that. We also encourage persons to bring snacks, food-like items to the shelter. Water is important also. If it is that you can walk with a blanket, do so. It's so fortunate that we today released our shelter poster, which includes what to bring to the shelter along with the rules of the shelter. So you can check our website, our social media for that.
Weather alerts are issued by meteorological agencies to warn the public about potentially hazardous weather conditions. A tropical storm warning is issued when tropical storm conditions, sustained winds of 39 to 73 miles per hour, are expected in a specified area within 36 hours. A hurricane is a large storm that forms over waters in tropical areas and rotates around an area of low pressure, which produces strong winds and rain. When preparing for a hurricane, you should create an emergency kit. In this kit, you should include water boots, raincoats, flashlights, batteries, a portable radio, kerosene lamps, candles, matches, and a first aid kit. A hurricane warning is issued when hurricane-force winds are expected within 24 hours. A hurricane warning can remain in effect when dangerously high water or a combination of dangerously high water and exceptionally high waves continue, even though winds may be less than hurricane force. A hurricane watch is issued when hurricane conditions, sustained winds of 74 miles per hour or greater, are possible within a specified area. A storm surge warning is defined as the danger of life-threatening inundation from rising water moving inland from the shoreline, somewhere within the specified area, generally within 36 hours. A storm surge watch is defined as the possibility of life-threatening inundation from rising water moving inland from the shoreline, somewhere within the specified area, generally within 48 hours. A flood takes place when an overflow of water covers land that is usually dry by a few inches or several feet. What should we do before flooding? Before a flood, create an evacuation plan. In creating an evacuation plan, ensure to find routes that are not prone to flooding to take you to your destination. Keep important documents like birth certificates and IDs in a safe place, like a waterproof folder. During a flood, do not try to swim through flowing water. If you come upon flowing water that is above your ankle, turn around and find a new route. After a flood, consider your home unsafe. Disinfect everything that got wet. Throw away any food or medicine that came in contact with the flood water. And boil drinking water for 10 minutes if you are unsure of whether or not it is safe to drink. Always listen to the alerts from the authorities via television, radio, or on social media. In regional news, the government of Trinidad and Tobago is moving to ensure the safety of its students studying in Jamaica as Hurricane Melissa approaches the island. Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Sean Sobers, says his ministry has been coordinating with the High Commission in Kingston and Caribbean Airlines to assist more than 260 Trinidad and Tobago nationals enrolled at the University of the West Indies, Mona. More details from TTT News.
Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Sean Sobers, says his ministry has been coordinating efforts to ensure the safety and well-being of Trinidad and Tobago students at the UWI Mona campus in Jamaica as that country braces for the impact of Hurricane Melissa. He said since learning of the storm's development, the government has been working through its ministries and the Trinidad and Tobago High Commission in Jamaica to assist the students there. He explained that measures were put in place to reach out to all 268 Trinidad and Tobago students currently studying in Jamaica.
In any event, precipitating all of that, there would have been a flurry of information, some of it misinformation coming out from social media concerning the treatment of students, our students, Trinbagonian national students in Jamaica at varying campuses, but especially the UWI Mona campus. Now, I myself, I think all of us in this room at some point in time, we were students. We appreciate how difficult a time like this could be, being so far away from home and being faced with something as dangerous as a hurricane.
The minister explained that his ministry worked closely with Caribbean Airlines to help students who wish to return home before the storm's arrival.
An email from the students and from some concerned parents mid-Wednesday morning, maybe Wednesday around lunchtime. And based upon that email, we collated all of the information, amalgamated all of the information that we got from the email. And so on the very first thing on Thursday morning, what we did with the information that was procured, blast email was sent to all students on Thursday, the 23rd of October, asking whether or not those students wish to return to Trinidad and Tobago before the storm.
He said Caribbean Airlines indicated that it would add additional flights on the 24th of October 2025 to facilitate nationals, particularly the students who wish to return home before the passage of the storm. Minister Sobers acknowledged that while flights were made available, not all students could afford the tickets. He said funds were sent to the High Commission to purchase food and other supplies for those sheltering at the university.
Who would not have been able to afford the flights. Right? It does not escape us at all that it, in fact, would have been a possibility. Based upon that, that is one of the main reasons why we ensured that the High Commission in Jamaica had sufficient funding available to begin the purchasing of the supplies to meet the needs of those students who unfortunately would not have been in a position to purchase the tickets to come home.
Minister Sobers added that the government will continue to monitor the situation and remains in contact with the Jamaican authorities to provide further assistance if needed.
As Jamaica braces for the arrival of Hurricane Melissa, some Barbadians living here are preparing for the worst but still praying for the best. At least 26 Barbadian students studying at the University of the West Indies, Mona, were able to return to Barbados, but some, like Kea Hines, are still on campus.
Everybody's kind of anxious, nervous. I mean, that's a normal feeling. So that's what I'm feeling right now. And I feel like that's the general mood everywhere. I'm following a news page right now, and most people, even Jamaicans, are very, very anxious. And obviously, I'm from Barbados. I never really experienced a hurricane of this caliber. But I just trying to calm myself the best I can. I try to get as much supplies as possible, charge up everything, trying to secure my windows, surround myself with the people that are left on hall, just so we have each other, and then deal with whatever happens afterwards. Any support that the government or anybody can give us afterwards, because we're more than likely going to need support and relief. If that can be offered to us, that would be muchly appreciated.
Meanwhile, Barbadian freelance sports journalist Gerard Morris Seeley shared that he is preparing for the passage of Hurricane Melissa.
Last couple of days, I just went to do some last-minute shopping, ensure that I get all the things that I need, of course, in non-perishable food items, water, very important. Anything like batteries or some kind of portable lights that I could work with, candles, all those things, very important. So that's what I've been doing over the past couple of days. I've also been checking any information that would be useful, like the evacuation numbers that I would need to call if I need assistance, where my shelter would be, obviously, in the event that I do need to evacuate. So that's what I've been doing to prepare for the last couple of days. In sports, CONCACAF has announced that the second leg clash between Jamaica's Mount Pleasant FA and Trinidad and Tobago's Defence Force FC has been postponed due to the severe weather threat posed by Hurricane Melissa. The match, originally scheduled for Thursday, October 30, at the National Stadium, will now take place on Wednesday, November 5, with kickoff set for 6 p.m. Eastern Time. In a statement, CONCACAF said the move was made to, quote, ensure the safety of all parties, end quote, following consultations with local authorities and both clubs. This latest adjustment comes just a day after the governing body rescheduled the two-legged series between O&M FC and Cibao FC. Those matches will now be played on October 30 and November 6, swapping dates with the postponed Jamaica fixture. High school football fans will have to wait a little longer for more Manning and Acosta Cup action as the Inter-Secondary Schools Sports Association
ISA has suspended all competitions with Hurricane Melissa approaching Jamaica. ISA confirmed on Thursday that the Manning Cup and the Costa Cup round of 16 matches have been postponed until further notice. The decision comes as forecasters warn that Jamaica could begin feeling the effects of the storm soon. In a statement, ISA said the move was made to play it safe, noting that all participating schools will receive at least 48 hours notice before play resumes. The hurricane threat has also forced a delay to several other school sports. The start of the junior football competitions, boys basketball, and the ongoing netball season have all been put on hold. ISA says it will continue to monitor weather updates from the Meteorological Service before announcing new match dates. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Remember, we are the people's station. Stay safe.